Welcome back to the BTS Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Andrea. With me, as always, is Morgan.
Hey, what's up?
This past week on the charts, Butter has maintained its 9th week at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. I don't normally comment on chart activity, but I had some observations to make about this week. So Butter is in first again. Number 2 is Industry Baby, which is a new song from Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow, which I guess it's popular. I don't really know anything about this song. I didn't listen to it. But third is Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo. And I just find it odd that it's so consistent. It's always like 2 or 3. And everything else on the list seems to have like a natural movement. Or if it's just came out and it's hot, okay, it goes to somewhere in the top. Or it moves like
Butter
up and down.
It stays at 1.
Yeah, but I can see...
So maybe Good For You is just popular.
I can see how Butter is there. I see all the activity by ARMY on the timeline. Like, they're working really hard to stream it and keep buying it. So I'm not surprised at that, but I hardly see any... I mean, I know I'm not Olivia Rodrigo timeline, but I don't really see the activity from fans on there. But I do know that it's played a lot on the radio, so it has like nonstop radio airplay, and I think that's how it's staying on top for this many weeks. And what I think is happening is that it's just getting consistent payola to stay in radio airplay from her company. And what they're hoping is Butter kind of like falls off eventually. Like ARMY, moves on to the next thing, or they get tired of like funding it every single week because they're not going to like buy new copies forever. They're hoping that Butter fades away and that, they can put Good For You at number 1 one of these weeks. That's what I think is happening. So they're just continuously funding it so it'll stay near the top. But okay, if that's their plan, then I don't know how they're going to make that look natural, because nothing is like, oh, it's number 2 for a long time and then suddenly it's number 1 like out of nowhere. It's like, well
that could be natural.
I think because songs, they start strong and then they stay kind of where they stay and then eventually start to drop. I don't think they spike up like 10 weeks in, And Good For You came out right before Butter, I think. It's what I'm remembering. That album came out like a week before. Butter, they didn't know it would be strong for this long. And maybe they're like using up a lot of money just keeping it up there.
Perhaps. Or maybe it's just popular.
It could be, but I know that the radio part of it isn't natural, because people who listen to the radio, they're saying like, wow, they play this song like so much. It's like, the people aren't requesting it that much. It's just like, it's got its placement. And if you look at all the other, I've seen like stats where they compile all the different things that Billboard looks at, and Good For You is not very high up there in all the other categories, just radio airplay. So it's like, obviously that's how it's what's fueling it.
I see.
Because it doesn't have like tons of sales or any of those other categories.
Well, they're trying to create a star. That's fine. This is
it's a game.
This has been happening forever, so I'm not offended by it.
Yeah, I just find it interesting because we're seeing strategies at work, and there's different labels they have to compete with each other, and it's like money is being thrown all over the place. And then number 4 is Stay by Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber. I think this is the first week that song came out, and it's starting out pretty strong. But I heard that song, and it's like a very catchy song, so I can see why it's pretty popular. And I saw people are saying that they think next week it's going to be number 1. That's good, because that's a HYBE family, right? So if it's not going to be Butter, then at least it'll be...
That's good. I don't care if HYBE has number 1, honestly. Doesn't make a difference to me. What difference does it make?
If a HYBE artist is near the top, then that's good for BTS.
I don't think it's good for BTS either. I don't think it makes a difference, BTS. It's good for HYBE. I don't know that trickles down to being good for BTS.
But yeah, people are saying next week it'll be number 1. So I guess that song was really like caught on.
I don't like that song. And it's not just because of my general antipathy towards Justin Bieber. It's not a special song.
He was also in Vegas that week, a couple weeks ago, and they did this song live. So I was like, oh, that was cool. They're like already kind of touring together. But yeah, I think that remember when Justin Bieber was in Vegas and he performed like a couple of times. I think that's kind of his practice for starting up a tour again. So whenever they start that. And then at number 5 is Levitating. And I think Levitating by Dua Lipa, that's kind of up there because of Payola too, because the song it came out in March 2020. And it's just like, why is it still up there?
But they remixed it. The remix is better. There you go.
It just added like a rapper. And I don't think it's...
Oh, that can make a big difference though.
You think his audience...
No, you're right. It's because of Payola, but in this case, it's a good song. It's one of my favorite songs.
It's a good song, but and they're trying to attribute its success to like, oh, it's popular on TikTok. But you know what? I don't believe TikTok is organic. I think sometimes they have their agenda and they're like, we're putting this song on many more people's radar than normally would happen. So I think there's some kind of back deal going on there with Dua Lipa and TikTok. But I do think Levitating is probably going to like drop in the coming weeks, all because of DaBaby's controversy, because he is the rapper on there, and I guess some people are mad at things that he said recently at did you hear about that situation?
No. Enlighten me.
Oh, okay. Well, he was at a Rolling Loud, which I guess is a concert, and he said some things about, I don't want to quote him exactly, but he's like, put your cell phone lighter up if you showed up today and you didn't have HIV, AIDS, or an STD, and then he's like talking about gay people, and if you're not doing something in the parking lot, put your cell phone lighter up.
Weird. So
the LGBT community didn't like what he said because it's like, oh, he's equating gays with HIV.
Oh.
And what's funny is like later he explained, like, I meant to say that the gays that follow me, I'm paraphrasing, he said the gays that follow me are like classy gays. They're not doing like sexual acts in the parking lot. They're the ones not doing that.
Hey, let's take him at face value. That's what he means.
He was trying to pay them a compliment. He has like the classy LGBT fans. But yeah, I guess they didn't see it that way. And so he's kind of being canceled everywhere now. Like he was supposed to perform at a bunch of other places and then they took him out of the lineup.
Oh, he's really getting canceled. They're taking him out.
Yeah. And Kanye West had a song with him too that he like removed from his album that's about to come out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's like, whoa, you guys are serious. Okay. I mean, he's just saying like stuff that rappers, might typically say, but I guess like it's 2021.
Is it something they might typically say? Well, in 2010, they typically say it.
Yeah. It's like
2021 though. It's 11 years later.
Like to me, it's nothing that shocking coming from a rapper, but it's 2021 and he's really being canceled for this. So that's why I think Levitating
perhaps
is going to be punished for that, unfortunately, for Dua Lipa. And otherwise, yeah, we're going to see some changes next week on the Billboard Hot 100. On August 2nd, Blackpink joined Weverse, HYBE's platform for artist and fan communication. The platform is currently used by BTS, TXT, ENHYPEN, 17, and many more artists. With Blackpink joining, many Blackpink fans were excited to greet them. And just for some background, Weverse armies, so the BTS fans, have been making comments these past few months about how Weverse was better back in the day when it was just big hit groups, because it was just BTS and TXT and ENHYPEN, and now there's like so many groups on there. I think they're up to 18 groups now, and that includes Western groups and other K-pop groups and K-pop groups from other labels. So because of that, sometimes there's trolls that come onto the BTS Weverse and say some bad things, and they don't like that. And sometimes they tend to be blinks, so they kind of get the blame for that. So this is all in the backdrop of now Blackpink is joining Weverse on August 1st, and they're like, okay, great. So Blackpink's joining. Like everybody, stay to your own page, your own artist page. Don't go to the other page, and don't let them come into here. Just report them and don't get in arguments with people. So they launch on August 1st. Blackpink is on there, and I saw, there was an introduction video, and then Jennie was the first one who had a post, and then she started commenting on fan posts. But the problem is everybody got notifications for that, not just people who were signed up for the Blackpink Weverse. So it was like everybody, including BTS fans. And they started seeing the notifications for Blackpink. And I saw a lot of tweets about that. It was kind of funny, actually. They're like, what is this? It's like, why am I getting notifications about this other group? It's like, all I care about is BTS.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of funny what people were saying. Like, they weren't mad so much. It's just like, what is this? And like making jokes about it and, some confusion. And pretty soon after that, Weverse had an apology that they wrote, and it was very detailed. It said like exactly what happened. It was like, oh, between 12 p.m. and 12:48, everybody was getting the notifications, and now we've turned them off, and we apologize, and we're deeply sorry for what happened. And people were getting notifications from a certain Weverse community that they did not join. So everybody was just amused by the apology because it just seemed like, okay, why is this so detailed? They didn't have to they're like worried that people would be like actually mad about it. So, I mean, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but it's just funny how Weverse reacted. Like, they were very worried about ARMY's reaction to what I guess was an IT problem.
So people were getting notifications?
Yeah, for Blackpink.
I didn't get any notifications. Is my thing broken? Because I didn't get any.
Oh, are you still a member of Weverse?
I have to be to pay for stuff, right? Come to think of it, I don't get any. I probably just turned it off somewhere. So I don't get anything.
I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, Jenny has a new post. And it's like, Jenny commented on Blank's post. Jenny commented on Blank's. I was like, oh, wait, why did I get this?
So this angered ARMY, right? Because they don't want to see Blackpink. But how difficult is it to just go in and just turn off your notifications?
Well, you can't really turn it off because the way they've said it is you're only supposed to get notifications for the artists whose Weverse you joined. So there's no way to turn off the Blackpink ones because they weren't even supposed to be getting them.
I see.
So maybe that's why Weverse was so quick to fix it, and then they had this really long apology about it. There's not really anything you can do as a user. And it kind of ties in with what we were talking about last week about how some of the blinks were like, oh, Blackpink doesn't interact with the fans enough. And maybe now that they're on Weverse, they'll do that more, because the way BTS uses Weverse is it's a lot more individual. Like, each member has their own separate post, where it's not like Twitter or Facebook where it's like, okay, the group posts. On Weverse, like, the individual members post, and then they can comment on things individually, and then they're often commenting on fan posts. And, that's always like the highlight. If you're one of the people that they actually comment on, it's like, oh, everybody will see your post, and then it goes viral, kind of. So maybe that's something that Blackpink is hoping that they could take advantage of, and then will stop the criticism of them, not interacting with fans enough, because this is a good way to do that on the Weverse platform.
I mean, what's so upsetting? So you have to see Blackpink shill for 100 makeup brands or something. Maybe it was useful. Maybe it's like you found some makeup that you could use, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it might be good makeup. I'm looking at some of these posts now. Most of them are ads, of course. Right? That's what Blackpink does. Most of them are ads. I'm not saying that as a pejorative. It's not negative at all, but most of them are probably ads.
Oh, even on Weverse?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. No, maybe not most of them. Some of them are. They shut it off after a day, though. You don't have to see the ads. It's no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, they said they fixed the issue after 48 minutes.
Oh, is that really such a burden?
That's pretty fast.
This is just the fan wars.
Yeah, we don't want to have conflict between different fandoms, but maybe the Weverse team must be on top of it, because they have so many groups on there now. They have to be responsive to.
Now, why doesn't YG do its own thing? They just figure Weverse is easier to just get on. It exists, so.
Yeah, that must be the reason. Mm-hmm. They're like,
that's good for HYBE.
This is part of one of those deals that we talked about in a previous episode, that YG signed with HYBE to be on Weverse, some of their artists. And they've been adding some of the other YG artists before. I think Treasure is YG, and they've been on Weverse already. Mm-hmm. So some people did have kind of a conspiracy about it. They're like, why did Blackpink, when they got added, the notification went to everybody, but that never happened with other artists before. So it's like, well, how did Weverse get that wrong? Because they add new artists all the time, and that you don't have this technical problem. Just almost seems like it was good promotion for Blackpink, because even people complain, it's like, oh, it's a news story. It's like,
right. Now everybody knows their own Weverse.
it could have been like done for buzz, even though it make it look like a mistake.
Yeah,
So,
now everybody knows.
But yeah, you never know with these things. Maybe it was like a quote unquote mistake, but it was like on purpose. Blink should be happy that they're on Weverse, because I think that is a good platform for hearing from artists, because then you could see they comment on things individually, and I guess you can't tell 100% if it's them, but at least
Oh, I doubt it is.
you could tell from what they comment.
It's almost certainly not them.
You think it's not Blackpink answering their own
Interns.
posts? I do think it is BTS answering their posts.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, just because from what I know of their personalities, their responses seem to fit the people, and it's also
maybe their interns are smarter.
it could be, and it's also it's not every single member that is posting all the time. It's always like one person every day or every other day, and then they'll just do like 10 in a row and then leave. Like probably that's only, they only have so much time allotted that day for that. And you never ever see Jungkook on Weverse, so I guess that's his personal decision. Like he doesn't like going on Weverse, but you see all the other members like every once in a while. So yeah, I don't know why, but I do believe BTS posts are actually them. I think they do that. But yeah, I can't be sure about Blackpink. I don't know them well enough. HYBE overcame a continued touring stoppage and improved its revenue by 79.3% over the last year to July 1st, according to the company's second quarter earnings report released on August 5th. So this report was talking about how HYBE grew by 79%, and a lot of that was because of album revenue. And it's like, okay, BTS didn't even have another full album that came out other than BTS The Best, which was their Japanese album compilation. And HYBE also had 17's album Your Choice and TXT The Chaos Chapter Freeze, which helped album revenue be up from the previous quarter. So it just seems like HYBE's revenue, a lot of it is album profits and also content profits, because they don't have touring money coming in. And it's kind of shocking to see on like a financial, like they laid out some stats there, and it was like concerts 0. It's like, wow, that looks rough if you're running a music company. But yeah, somehow HYBE was able to make up the revenue in other places, mostly with albums and paid content. And some of the other things were like ads, merchandising, merch. But yet, most of it is from album sales and content sales.
Well, that makes sense, right? Because they can't tour.
That's crazy that they were able to make up the difference. I mean, not that was going to be exactly what it was, including if they could tour, but...
But what was their streaming? Did it say?
You mean like money from Spotify?
No,
Stuff
I
like
mean
that?
like their online concerts.
Oh, yeah, that's... I think that's included in content, because that's not ads, that's not merch.
Well, what I will say is that their net profit is not that impressive. So a lot of HYBE stock price is based on projection, which doesn't mean it's a weak company. That's very common these days, Tesla doesn't make that much money, but it's a very highly valued company for many, many different reasons that I won't go into. It's not just about how much money you make. It's way more complicated than that. So it's still fair that HYBE is highly valued, but I think it's more instructive to look at how, even though their net profits are not necessarily that impressive, it's something like 26 million, right? It's not that impressive. You have to look at it versus other competitors in the same time period.
Right. So you were comparing to SM.
I think they were much
YG.
healthier over the same. This is just a guess. I don't know this for. Go ahead and look into it if you want. I think they're much more competitive and healthy than other record labels over the same time period. They weathered the pandemic a whole lot better. So it doesn't look that healthy, but it could look a lot healthier than other record labels because they were so good at, the online concert thing, perhaps getting album sales up. Although I don't think that that's going to translate to Western markets at all because we don't buy albums. That's a regional cultural thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a healthy balance sheet. Just looking through it, it looks pretty healthy to me.
And they have income from different places. So it's not just albums and
it wouldn't dissuade me from investing in the company. It's not exactly, it wouldn't make me jump at it either, but it wouldn't dissuade me from it, even though, as I said, fundamentals like price, like your earnings and stuff, they seem to matter less and less these days as far as stock prices go. But
it says they had 18 artists in Weverse in Q1 and then 9 more artists joined in Q2.
Yeah. There's a lot of growth baked into that, I think. People see it growing, and Weverse is part of that too. They see HYBE growing outside of being just a music company and outside of being just a music company for its own artists.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They have a lot of fingers in a lot of different things. And I think that people who are investors see that. And at the end of the day, they feel very confident in the backstop that BTS is, right? Like even if those various projects like Weverse, they don't really go anywhere or they don't become that profitable, they have this great backstop in BTS. It's, we'll always make a certain amount of money from BTS is the logic, right? So it's still a strong company on that front. So it probably seems like a very good investment.
Do you think the groups on Weverse, their company has to pay like a monthly fee or is it like a bunch of money up front?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because there has to be a way to monetize that. Like, why would they just add artists?
You know what, I bet to start with, they don't have to pay anything.
Oh,
they probably want to grow it.
They want to get users on there.
Yeah, they probably want to grow the platform first. So it might be, hey, for the first year, you could just come on for free.
Oh, that's true. Maybe it's like Facebook. It's like
it's
you want to get
YG
everybody
to just throw Blackpink on there and you don't pay anything for a while. I don't know. That's how I would do it at least, right?
Just get everybody, all the Blackpink fans, get a login on Weverse so that they get used to using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Weverse does have paid content. It's like connected to the Weverse shop and everything, so I'm sure that that's how they're making money eventually. But I just thought, just to join Weverse, maybe HYBE would charge a fee or something to these other groups that are not big hit artists. I don't know how they structured it. They've never said that. After landing the biggest hits of their time together, BTS is subtly letting their followers know that while not everyone is thrilled to hear more English than Korean these days, the band seems prepared to continue down the road that has worked so well for them. In a new interview with Time magazine, the members of BTS make it clear they are sticking with the process of recording new music in English. Language doesn't matter that much to us like in the past, RM explained in the chat, adding that he doesn't think it's bad. In general, with language topic, there's no borders, boundaries, or limits. So right now, since they're doing so well, and they've had their success with the 3 English songs recently, there's incentive for them to continue to have English songs, and since it's working out well for them. And I know there's some fans out there that they're kind of dismayed by how many English songs BTS has done lately, and they're kind of hoping that they go back to Korean songs.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but that's not exactly going to happen. They're going to continue making English songs, and this is what I felt they should do, because it's successful, right? They're successful doing it. They're not losing their old fans, and they're gaining a lot of new fans, so why not keep doing it? Mm-hmm. And you don't know how long this window will last, so the time to strike is now. Don't release a couple English songs, release a ton, and just see if you can sort of establish yourself as just, instead of a quote-unquote K-pop group, just as an international group. And I know that sounds like maybe a negative or a betrayal to some people, but it's really not. It's them expanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it that way at all.
Yeah.
Let's be real. English, if you release an English-speaking song, it has greater reach in general. That's just the reality of it.
It has greater potential.
Do you want them to be as successful as they can be, or do you not want them to be? This is the path to the greatest success. Mm-hmm. And you can't say that it's some sort of failed experiment. They had 2 hits. maybe 3, right?
Yeah.
So you can't argue that it's not been a success. This is the path to the greatest amount of success. Why would you take that away from them? Why would you not want them to have that?
Yeah, and I don't think it was some master plan by BTS either. I think the fact that they had Dynamite and Butter and Permission to Dance all being English songs, I think that happened just because of the pandemic. Because I believe in early 2020, when Map of the Soul 7 came out, and that was already out, they have to have been working on the next album already. And I think that album was totally Korean, and it had its own theme and everything, and it was in the works. And they didn't want to release it because they couldn't tour with it, and weren't able to perform Map of the Soul 7 songs on tour yet, so they just put that on hold. And so the best way to fill in between that time was to have these singles by Western songwriters, because these songs were like almost ready to go basically. So all they had to do was like make some minor changes, and okay, we'll have some music in the meantime. So I think you have to remember like what happened and what happened through the whole year and why did they have to adjust, because it's not like they purposely said we're going to have all English songs from now on. I just think that was the circumstance, and it was easier for them to just go to the Western songwriters because, that's what they were presented with. They had these good songs from the top songwriters. Like, okay, Ed Sheeran, like, what are you going to,
right.
turn down that song?
People want to work with them.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, refuse?
It's like when you have good songs that come your way, you want to
And keep in mind, when people work with you like that, like an Ed Sheeran, it's their choice whether they want you to sing their song, right? They have some say in whether or not this is going to be an all-English song or not. And they probably have a preference. Like, I'm sure that a lot of the songwriters have a preference. They say, well, I want this to be an all-English song because it probably will have more reach, meaning you will make more money as a songwriter.
Right. It would benefit everybody.
Right. Think about how much money the songwriters of Dynamite make versus the songwriters of their Korean singles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. So, of course, if you're a songwriter, you're probably saying, hey, would it be possible for this to be an all-English track? And the more juice and leverage you have, you might be able to demand, hey, I will give this song to you, but only if you make it into an all-English track. And you're not necessarily in a position to say no to Ed Sheeran, are you? He could sell music to anybody. He could sell music to Justin Bieber. I think theoretically he could literally sell music to anybody on earth. There are very few artists on earth that would say, you know what, that Ed Sheeran guy doesn't know how to write music at all. He's crap. No. If he's writing music for you, he probably had a lot of say and a lot of leverage. And I'm guessing that he would tend to ask you to make it an all-English track. And you know what? He didn't even ask that for all. Didn't he contribute a song and they didn't make it an all-English track?
Yeah.
Yeah. But for the next collaborations, maybe he would say, hey, I gave you one and it wasn't all English and it was fine. That's fine. No big deal. But then next one, can we do all English, right? I'll make more money off of it. Something like that.
He'll be like, I'll work with you on the lyrics,
right. You could see how that would play out, right? It's a business. It's a business at the end of the day. It's a business. You can't divorce it from business. And it's not just BTS interest that you're thinking about here. It's all the songwriters too. And the people who are producing the music. It's all the record labels. It is in their best interest right now for BTS to make English tracks. Now, that I know there are some of you who are out there who are saying, well, they've never been this big before. We don't know how big they could be releasing a Korean English hybrid track at their current level of fame. We don't know, right? So let's just try it. Well, but, the people who are making the decisions and who have skin in the game and who put money into it, maybe they just don't want to try it. Maybe they don't want to risk it. And I think it is their money. They probably would prefer a more sure thing. And at this moment in time, the more sure thing is all English BTS track. And look at it. The all English BTS tracks, they've been way more successful than the Korean BTS tracks. And also, you know what else? The Blackpink Korean tracks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Blackpink has been big in the West for about a year now, and they've released hybrid track, like Korean English tracks. Have they been as big as the BTS ones?
No, I don't think. Like Ice Cream.
Yeah,
was a collab that wasn't as big as like Dynamite or Butter.
But that was all English? No,
that one was, yeah.
Oh, okay, that one was.
Wait,
yeah, that one
was it? Maybe
I think it was. It was, but it wasn't. But the thing is, but that wasn't like a big. Their hybrid ones haven't been.
like Lovesick Girls.
Yeah, they haven't been as
Those
big.
are less.
Lovesick Girls was a
single.
better song than Ice Cream.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
That was their title track.
But it wasn't as successful as Dynamite.
Right.
All English tracks still rule the day. So the people who behind the scenes who are making these things and who have the money, they're going to demand that of BTS.
And I think fans, some of them, the ones that want the Korean songs, they might have this perception that, oh, BTS members are being like forced into doing English songs. It sounds like they like it. They like to learn new things, and then they like reaching.
That's a
more
charitable
people.
way of looking at it, I guess. But you know what? There's a more obvious and simplistic way of looking at it. Hey, I'm pretty sure that members of BTS are not allergic to making money, right? Why would they hate making English tracks if it's made clear that this might be the path to greater revenue?
It's just funny because that's such a unique situation to be in. Like me right now, if I was an artist, I can only sing in English. But if someone said, well, yeah, your songs are really popular in Japan, you just need to sing in Japanese, I would be like, okay, I guess I'll learn Japanese, because like, if that's what they want, but that's kind of a task.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to learn another language to do that. But yeah, that's the unique situation that BTS and maybe some of the other K-pop groups are in, is like, let me learn some more English. And we've seen in interviews that BTS members, they're taking lessons now. They want to get better at their pronunciation and their speaking of English. So it seems like, yeah, they want to do that. They're not like, oh, okay, I guess we have to release Dynamite or Butter, or at least I can't detect any.
This is the future. You just have to accept it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a smart thing to want to sing in English, and like, you don't want to just stay in your box and like, oh, I'm only singing in Korean and that's it. And it's like, well, why would you refuse if there's like such a big payoff if you are able to learn English and sing in English? And I think we should be happy that BTS can expand their reach like that. It's like, not every group is able to go across, different languages, different countries,
right,
and they can connect with even more fans. So I think that's a good thing. And like I said, I think they had a whole album in the can before the B album existed. So I think we're going to see that released whenever they think it's a good time to release it. And I'm sure a lot of those are Korean songs. Okay, they're doing English songs. That doesn't mean they're totally abandoning Korean. Anyone who's worried about that, I don't think that's realistic. And we were talking about BTS album sales, among other albums, causing 79% growth at HYBE. So I think we need to trust that they know what they're doing over at HYBE. News in North Korea. North Korean teens are under investigation after getting caught listening to BTS. According to reports on August 5th, North Korean high school students who are caught singing and dancing to a BTS song are now under investigation. The students are said to be trainees from North Korea's militia organization of teen cadets, Red Youth Guard. It's reported the students of Anju Middle School were singing out loud to BTS's song Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and the local North Korea Workers' Party were notified. The teens are now under investigation for participating in reactionary ideology and culture, which violated North Korean laws. What I found interesting is that this is just middle school or high school kids, and they're already like trainees for the military. It's like, okay, I guess that's how it is in North Korea. They get them young. And they were singing Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and that's a BTS song, but it's several years old. So it's like, oh, that's the song that is popular for the North Korea kids. It's like, wow, that's unfortunate. They've had many songs since then, and I was just like disgusted that somebody snitched on some kids singing BTS. But that's how it is in a communist country. It's like everybody is encouraged to like turn on each other. That's pretty normal in that kind of a country. But I hope that nothing too harsh happens to these kids. But just not.
Oh, they were probably like executed or something.
Oh, that's not good to hear. I hope not.
North Korea, you should probably just assume the worst and go from there, and then move worse after that.
Well, sometimes they say like, oh, the North Korean spokesperson or whatever says, that's just some stories that are out
What
there.
difference does it make what a spokesperson says?
They think like the West is spreading like these totally like made up stories about them that are like more extreme.
The West is not spreading them. People who have defected from North Korea spread these stories.
They think we're making up stuff just to
Okay.
make North Korea look worse.
Just look up people who have defected from there and see what they say then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that is what happened.
Right.
I'm sure BTS doesn't want to be responsible for... I mean, they want people to hear their music. They don't want anyone to get in trouble for it. But, I mean, they can't control what's happening in North Korea. But...
No.
That's pretty sad.
I have my doubts about this story in the first place. What did they say how this report came? What media outlet knows what's going on in North Korea? That's what I want to know. It's a black hole of information. What media outlet knows what's happening in a middle school in North Korea?
I don't know. It seems
I
like
read the article, didn't attribute anything.
South Korea has some kind of sources from somewhere that they get.
Maybe, or do they have spies or something that they're just not talking about?
Maybe they know some people on the inside.
Okay. Maybe that's the case, but unless they're citing them, it's hard to believe things because it's North Korea.
Yeah, what makes it difficult is there aren't really other sources that you can cross-check.
Right.
But at the same time, it sounds like something North Korea would do.
It does, but at the same time, just because it sounds like something they would do, doesn't mean this story is true.
Yeah.
And
how
did you get the information? CNN is not embedded in a North Korean middle school. South Korean media outlets are not allowed in a North Korean middle school. Who is leaking this information? Who is reporting this? It's very strange. It was a very strange article in my mind. I'm not saying it's false, and I'm not saying this stuff couldn't happen. In fact, I would wager that this would be typical, but I don't know how this specific information would get out. This is North Korea. Who's in there reporting on middle school stuff and whether some students are listening to BTS? Who?
Mm-hmm.
It seems unlikely to me.
It almost seems like a story that is created to upset BTS fans or upset BTS.
It seems like it could be a false story. Let's just put it that way. It does.
To make them feel bad.
Not that it's not realistic, but
yeah.
Not to make them feel bad, but just as like a propaganda about North Korea.
Like, don't you dare bring your music into North Korea.
You know, like, hey, see how bad things are in North Korea. Although I don't know that you need to make up propaganda about North in that regard because it's genuinely bad.
Maybe the point was they want to send the message of we don't want to hear your music in North Korea, so make sure it doesn't get here. They want to send a message to anyone in South Korea.
That's what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking about propaganda from their side. I was thinking about propaganda from South side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. North Korea can't dictate what the Western media reports, I don't think. How can they dictate what the Western media reports? If this is a false story and it's propaganda, it would be propaganda based on what South Korea and what the United States wants.
Oh,
which is to paint North Korea as a really crappy place.
And throw in BTS in there to make it...
To make you look at the story.
Yeah.
Look at how bad North Korea is, guys. This is the type of thing they do. Which, by the way, is a totally believable story, but it perhaps is not a true story. Or not specifically, verifiably true.
Right. And if it turns out it's false, then South Korea could just say, well, look, we didn't double check it. We don't have too many sources in there, so...
Keep in mind, I totally think stuff like this does happen, but I'm not so sure this particular story is rooted in fact. Because how would we get this information? How would a Western media outlet acquire the information?
Yeah, especially it gave a date, like August 5th, this happened. Well, okay,
August 5th, you know what's going on in the North Korean middle school?
And you heard South Korea heard about it that day?
I'm not sure that that's true, okay? But I think it is emblematic of stuff that does actually happen based on what people who have escaped from North Korea say about it. Seems totally plausible. So just another reminder of the type of stuff that does typically happen there, even if we don't necessarily believe the veracity of this one story.
Yeah, I mean, you should always be skeptical and make sure to check more than one source when you hear any kind of news story. On August 3rd, Stray Kids' Bang Chan trended on Twitter as he took to Bubble to post an apology to his fans. This was after an old video clip showing Bang Chan dancing to Childish Gambino's This Is America resurfaced on social media. The video clip showed Bang Chan dancing to the popular song and fans pointed out his imitation of the Jim Crow pose at the end that they found offensive. So in the 1800s, an entertainer created a racist character in blackface named Jim Crow. After the Civil War, most of the southern states passed laws denying basic human rights to blacks, and this became known as Jim Crow laws in the U.S. And I guess if people in South Korea wouldn't necessarily know all this, but, Jim Crow laws oppressed black people after they were supposed to get their full rights, voting rights, and it mandated segregation of public schools and public places and riding on buses and things like that. So the Childish Gambino video was a commentary on that, and there was the fact that they're calling it a Jim Crow pose, like, I don't know if that is a real thing. Like, he had a video, but if Bang Chan saw this video, like, he wouldn't know the whole history of everything that happened, and he was just...
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah, like, to him, it's just like a rap video, and I think if you're from South Korea, you know probably vaguely, yes, Childish Gambino was commenting on Black history, the Black experience in America, but you don't know the individual poses, what that means. Like, I didn't even know that meant something. Like, him dancing and Childish Gambino doing various things in the video. Like, I don't know what each frame meant something or was supposed to mean something. So to me, this is kind of a false outrage, because he was doing something in a variety show to mimic a dance from a video, and it's not like he knew that meant something specific. And I don't even think it means something specific, because it's like, I've never heard that. A Jim Crow pose. I know what Jim Crow is, but like a pose, there's no pose. Like, what are you talking about?
I looked at it, and the outrage wasn't that widespread. It was like 3,000 people who liked this post, right? I wouldn't consider that widespread. And if it is widespread, it's dumb. But it was widespread enough that he felt the need to apologize. And what sucks is it's almost reflexive. You just sort of, the policy now is just to apologize, whether you did something wrong or not, because it's easier, right? Listen, how old is he? Like 22? How would a 22-year-old Korean kid know anything about this stuff? I didn't know about it. And before you label me an ignorant person who doesn't know how to use Google, first of all, I know how to use Google. And second of all, I was a history minor. I'm probably better educated than the vast majority of listeners about U.S. history, right? Mm-hmm. I probably am. You'd have to be some kind of specific history major in something to know more than me. And I didn't know that this was a pose that was related to Jim Crow. I knew that it was roughly, some sort of commentary about it, but I didn't research it deeply, and I didn't care to. And you know what? People don't have to care to. They don't have to Google every tiny thing just to make sure it's not offensive. If they see you doing a dance in a music video, it's fair for them to mimic a dance. And I bet you anything, I would bet like half my life savings that if you asked Donald Glover if he was offended that some Korean kid did a dance, mimicked a dance that he did in a video, he'd probably say no. I understand that people will probably imitate dances in videos. If I didn't want them to do that, I probably shouldn't have done that dance in a video, right? Mm-hmm. Go ask him. Did they even bother to ask him? Has anybody asked him if that was offensive to him?
Yeah, no one asked the artist if he was offended.
Right. I almost guarantee you that he would say that, no, that's fine. Maybe he would prefer that somebody, learn about why he did these things, but he wouldn't say, oh, you should apologize. Look, there's nothing to apologize for. Maybe he would, at most, I would think that would think that it's a good opportunity to start a discussion, and maybe people would learn more about why he did these things in this video. Mm-hmm. But he would not say, well, you didn't know, and then you just imitated my dance in a video. Now you're a bad person who needs to apologize for something. What?
Yeah.
What? I can almost guarantee you that Donald Glover himself would not say that.
There's no way Donald Glover is going to sit there and say, Bang Chan is racist because he did
you're racist. You imitated
move.
My dance. Like, well, why'd you do the dance? Because it had a lot of meaning, and you should have known. And even though it's like not something you were taught in school or anything like that, you really should have Googled it. Like, you should Google everything before you do anything. Who does that? That's not reasonable at all. So we've talked about this before, but it's been a while since we had one of these, but that's good. We can talk about how ridiculous it is again. Why are you trying to cancel somebody or make somebody apologize for something he really doesn't need to apologize for? He doesn't know what it's about. Why don't you just tell him what it's about? Is that so? Is that so? Why can't you just tell him what it's about
Yeah.
and then leave it at that? Leave it at that. There's no need for an apology. Maybe it's an opportunity for him to learn something. How about that? Can it not just be that?
They don't want to have like teaching moments anymore.
Yeah, it's like, well, now he learned something. He doesn't. You don't have to make him feel bad about what he did, or make him feel like he needs to apologize for something. But now he knows something that he didn't know yesterday. How about that? Is that not productive? It's more productive to make somebody apologize for something, and that apology is not even genuine. It's just, it's a rote apology these days, right? People just say, well, people are offended, may as well apologize. Did anyone really learn anything? Was anything really productive achieved? I would argue no, right? So are you the winner? I mean, if you consider yourself a winner because you like extracted a false apology out of somebody, sure, hooray, congratulations, winner, right? But I don't think you're a winner.
That's not an accomplishment.
What did you get? What did you get? Did you get people on your side? Did you get people more educated? Did you get people more enlightened? You probably just got more people to resent whatever it is you think or believe in or advocate. That's probably what you achieved. And I use that term sarcastically because achieve isn't really the word you're looking for here, is it? You didn't achieve anything. It's a negative accomplishment. So when you post something like that on Twitter, just think about that. What are you hoping to achieve? What do you think you're getting out of this? And what are you actually getting out of it? I would say you're not getting anything out of it. You're just making yourself look foolish. You're making a number of people resent you and your position. It's not achieving anything.
And I think that the people that were offended, I think they're ignoring the fact that K-pop idols, they watch many videos, and they always learn choreography from other videos. Like, they always know the dances from other artists, and he probably didn't think this was any different, just like what was happening in the This Is America video. I doubt he gave it too much thought. It's just like, let me learn the moves from this. It's just the same thing as learning the moves from like a BTS video or NCT video. It's like, I'm learning the dance from that, and they have no idea. Like, you have to consider that it's just, Western fans that are taking offense at certain things, because it's like there's this hidden thing that you're supposed to know about, and it's like, how can anyone know about that from another country?
Yeah, hidden thing. You should know about the history of some sort of obscure set of laws that happened in 1850 in the United States. Let me ask you something. Do you even know who the prime minister of South Korea was in 1980? It's not even that long ago.
I don't know.
Do you know who it is now? You can say, well, you can Google it. Okay, you're going to Google all of them?
You can't expect people from other countries to know everything about your country, is what it is.
Hey, Americans, have you ever said some innocuous sentence, according to you, innocuous sentence like the country of Taiwan?
Yeah,
Have you ever said those words?
That has happened.
Oh, whoops. You just offended 1.2 billion Chinese people. They think that you need to apologize now. How about that? All you said was country of Taiwan, right? That's it.
It's like, I didn't know that was a bad thing.
Oh, I didn't know that was bad. Well, you should have Googled it. You would easily see that that's offensive to 1.2 billion Chinese people. Well, that's maybe an exaggeration. Not all of them are offended. But even if half of them are offended, that's 600 million people, right? There's only like 370 million people in the United States. So you just offended twice the whole population of the United States. You're really offensive right now. Please apologize right now. Oh, and then what have you said? Well, I don't even agree that it should be that offensive that you think, I don't care that you think that Taiwan is part of China. I don't care.
Take away that John Cena had billions of dollars on the line.
Yeah.
If he wanted to argue that, he could just say
I don't care.
I think it is
care.
a country, so what's a big
I
deal?
thought it was a country, so what? I'm okay that you don't think it is, but I don't care. I think it is. And now what? Okay. What if some South Korean kid said, well, I understand you care deeply about that this is a Jim Crow pose, but I just don't really care. What if he said that?
He's like, I just thought it was choreography.
I just thought it was choreography. I thought it was cool. And I like Donald Glover. I think he's a cool artist. So I just did his dance. How about that? What are you going to say then? Aren't you basically like these Chinese nationals screaming and hollering about, hey, why did you say Taiwan is a country?
It's the same thing.
And you can
it's
say,
like,
hey, it's not the same thing because racism is wrong, but Taiwan is actually a country. Like, that's your subjective opinion, right?
like,
that's important to them, and this is important to you,
both
right?
overreactions.
That's a matter of national pride to them. I'm just like saying what they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of national pride and sovereignty, and it's an insult to their entire people. 1.2 billion of them by saying something as simple as Taiwan is a country. Are you going to apologize? Should you do that every time? I guess he should, because there's a lot of money over there, right? It's the same reason why Bang Chan is apologizing to the American market.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because he feels deeply that he did something wrong. It's because JYP said, hey, don't piss off the American market, right?
Yeah, it's like Stray Kids. We need the Western market.
Right. So that's why he's apologizing. You are only extracting the same kind of apology that China extracted from John Cena. Do you feel good about that?
Wow.
Do you think it's a genuine apology?
Because Americans think, well, we're above being crazy like China.
Yeah, it's like, we're apologizing for some stupid garbage that you guys cared deeply about, and you're, on top of that, you're even wrong about. Well, that wrong, right? It's totally subjective, right? The fact is that they just raised a stink about it, and they made John Cena apologize, right? And the fact is that Americans raise a stink about something and make South Koreans apologize. How's that different? It's the exact same dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So stop doing it.
I don't like that we forced him.
Yeah, if you don't like when John Cena has, or Americans have to apologize to Chinese nationals for those things, then don't make people apologize for not understanding the deep symbolism of a Donald Glover dance.
Yeah. I wish he could have had his honest response, which was just that, I just did the choreography from that video. I wasn't aware of all the different, nuances of it. And that's all it was. I wasn't trying to represent racism.
Maybe that's not his honest response. Maybe his honest response is that he's genuinely sorry. I don't know. I don't know him. But it seems like we try to extract these apologies out of people.
We forced him to apologize.
Yeah. And you feel a lot like that's really, it strikes me as the same as the, Chinese netizens who extract apologies out of Americans because the Chinese market has power. You're extracting apologies out of people, sincere or not, because your marketplace has power. And I don't know, do you feel good about that? I personally find it a little pointless.
That's why I think a lot of these demands are like when people think, oh, cultural appropriation happened, and then you demand things out of artists. Like, I just don't think that's a good thing overall, because it makes people less likely to try to innovate or less likely to look at other cultures and get inspiration from them. It's just like a negative thing all around.
It's not even that. What did you improve in the world by extracting this? Just, it educated him. No. I bet you anything in his heart, it like when he finished that message, he was like, God damn these Americans. He probably hates Americans more these days because of this. So did you accomplish anything? Did anyone get educated? Was anyone enlightened?
Yeah, and I don't like that these loud voices are what is representing America, because I didn't want him to apologize. I don't want him to feel bad about whatever happened.
After John Cena made that apology to China, do you think he went home and said, thank God the Chinese criticism made me apologize publicly and humiliate myself, because now I know that I really shouldn't have injured their national pride like that. I feel better educated now. I feel like a better person today than I was yesterday.
Yeah,
Do you think he felt that when he went home?
There's no way he feels better about catering to China.
No. He went home to his mansion because he's a rich man, and he thought, what? I'm guessing, what am I doing? What has become of my life? Jesus Christ. Why am I have to do this just because I'm in a blockbuster film? I have to go prostrate myself and humiliate myself just because I have no choice. I'm in this blockbuster movie and this is what we have to do.
It's like this entire country is against me. And it's like,
just because I accidentally said something like country of Taiwan, this is ridiculous. That's probably what he was thinking when he went home. Nobody was swayed to your side. Nobody was educated about anything.
I'm sure he
didn't win over any people.
More negative feelings towards China now.
I'm almost certain of it. You didn't win.
I just think we need to be more understanding about stuff like this. Just they're gonna.
You know what? I don't even think that you have to be understanding. That's not even a requisite here. You can go ahead and feel any kind of way, but for utility's sake, what's the bottom line? If I do X, what will be the result of X? If I complain and ask for an apology on Twitter, what will actually be achieved? Think about that. Just think about, what will actually be achieved by me doing this? Mm-hmm. And if you really think through it, I think you'll realize that the answer is not positive and is not in your favor. So don't do it. I think you'll find, if you think through it, no good will come of you, honestly, being a whiny bitch. Nothing good will come of it. So maybe rethink that strategy. That's all. There's better ways to go about spreading your ideas and educating people.
Thank you to our guest, Morgan. You can find BTS Happy Hour on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other podcast platforms. New episodes weekly. If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. Follow BTS Happy Hour on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Weverse. You can also go to the website at btshappyhour.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for additional content. Until next time, this has been the BTS Happy Hour. Thanks for listening, and remember, make every hour a happy one.